Progress, they say, lies in not enhancing what it is, but in advancing on what will be. Looking at progress, we remember when Mikel Arteta walked into Arsenal in December 2019. Arsenal were in tatters. Arsenal players were flagging. I saw an Arsenal team that could not hold the ball for 5 seconds in a game. When we lost the ball, we're pathetic. But when we have the ball, we're good, but not good enough. And the kind of players that we signed were like the 6 and 7. Welcome to another edition of Arsenal Fans Beat, brought to you by Arsenal fans globally. I have with me a star-studded team in the studio. My teammates, boss, and officials of Arsenal Seminole Supporters Chapter. I have with me the Honorable Hassan. Welcome to this edition.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. And as always, Husby. This man is the mouthpiece of Arsenal Seminole Supporters Chapter, doing a lot of things. But today we're going to be looking at stuff that's been happening in Arsenal from 2019 to this date, when Arteta has been holding the hands of affairs of Arsenal Football Club, looking at basically about 5 years and 5 months counting. Arsenal have become a title contending team. Arsenal have won 1 FA Cup, 2 Community Shields, and turned out to be runner-up twice in the English Premier League. It's a no means feat, but yet naysayers within the Arsenal fan base say Arteta is to be blamed. Today we're going to be looking at if truly Arteta's trajectory in taking Arsenal from where they were. Today you look at the fan base, the love that transcends in Arsenal is beyond words. Talking about beyond words, look at our anthem. An anthem is something. It is love, passion, excitement. Anytime we sing it. But we're going to be looking at what Arteta has not done correctly. Because we're not going to say he's perfect. We're not going to say he's imperfect. But we are caught in between. I have my own reservations. And one thing I just want to ask us in this community, don't forget that it is because you are there that we are growing to the point where we are. So we'll crave your indulgence. Don't forget to share, to like, to subscribe, and make your comments count. Now, let's come to the big one. Mikel Arteta has spent 5 years and 5 months in Arsenal. And Arsenal have gone to becoming the Netflix that Patrick Evra called us, to becoming corner kick LC. Because we're trying as much as we can. We won't put in much the goal in getting a marquee striker since Aubameyang left. We started looking out for means of getting the goals across the pitch. So tell us, looking at what Arteta has done this so far, do you think that Arteta is the man to take us to the finish line?
Well, thank you very much. To take us to the finish line, yes, we are still waiting for that to happen. But I believe that what Arteta has done for Arsenal over the years since 2019, let us commend him. Let us give him praise, because it is said that give praise to who deserves it. I think Arteta deserves to be praised, considering where he took Arsenal from in 2019 to where Arsenal is now. I think we need to commend his efforts. We need to appreciate him for what he has done. Now, first of all, let us agree that Arteta, one thing he has done is he has restored the Arsenal identity in football.
Yeah.
That is one thing he has done. Our playing identity is restored. And also, look at the quality of players that he has been recruiting. He has been recruiting quality players. Now we have players that other teams are going after. And we also getting to the point where now players are willing to come to Arsenal against rejecting other teams.
Yeah.
Now, think about it. We used to lose quality players. Now we're not getting that happening in Arsenal. Not because, but because there is now a winning mentality within the team. And I will agree you will agree with me that Arteta has actually done a fantastic job in instilling that on our players. Now, we had players like Van Persie, they left us to go to the other side, join rivals, and played against us. We are mocked. Now we have players leaving big teams coming over to us. That's progress in itself. But that besides, look at the quality of players that we have within the team now. From 2019 to now, we have done a tremendous job. So I think Arteta has really done a good job with Arsenal, even though there is still much more to be done, because what the fans want, silverware. It needs to deliver more silverware on a frequent basis. Now remember, we played in the Champions League. Now we went up to the semi-finals, and we were really competitive in that. Eventually, the team that eliminated us in the semi-final eventually ended up winning the team. Remember, we played against Real Madrid, who were world champions. We beat them home and away. This is the Arsenal. In 2 or 3 seasons back, we were not thinking about that.
No way.
But now we achieved that. So let's say kudos to Arteta for doing this much. I'm not saying he will be the one to take us to the finish line, but he's getting closer to that.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable. Now come to your speed. From what Honorable has said, Arteta have turned Arsenal into a competitive team. And we'll now see a situation where players in Europe are saying it is Arsenal or nothing. But the point here that other naysayers will say is that Arteta have had more money spent during his reign as the coach of Arsenal as compared to the 21 years that Arsene Wenger spent in Arsenal. But when they bring the argument up, what I always say is that Arteta was not responsible for the cost of purchasing players then and now, because the market value of players have grown astronomically. But the question is, money has been spent, and we're expecting that we're going to get a return value, and that return value is in winning trophies. Now, I would say, for those naysayers that will say, look, Arteta tactical know-how has been filled with pitfalls, and that is why he's not been able to take us across the line. So what's your take in this?
All right, thank you, Ken. First of all, I don't want to assess Arteta's reign at Arsenal based on the amount of money he has spent. Naturally, we've all seen inflation in World Football Club football. I think Wenger predicted that some years back when Mourinho came to Chelsea and he was splashing the money just like that. And Wenger said football, the hefty outlay will be very prominent in the future, where you will have probably players going out for £100 million plus. And people were laughing. We're seeing that now in world football. You see overrated players who ideally could go for probably 30, 40 million. Quotes like 80, 90 million is placed on their head. So I don't really want to blame Arteta, and I don't want to compare his reign to Wenger's reign in terms of what they spent. During Wenger's time, he was building a team for the future, but we also know that, especially in the latter years of Wenger's reign, the business that the club was doing in terms of selling players was tied down to us paying back the loan for the Emirates Stadium. So I would say Arteta has done a great job. A bright example is what we are doing now. Prior to Gyökeres acquisition, we spent about £142 million on 3 or 4 players. Liverpool spent almost that same amount on just 1 player. So there is sense in what we are doing. And coming to his tactical aspect, I heard Arteta saying in Singapore that In previous seasons, we've been tied down to tier players, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 players. So like tier 1 players are players that no matter what, you hardly take them off the match except if they're injured. I don't really know how this thing came into operation, whether this is a mandate from the club or whatsoever. I was a little bit confused. But I am equally relieved when he said the tier system will no longer take effect at Arsenal. Players will be selected based on availability, form, and whatever other parameters that are available. Because we all knew that there were times players were really like just off it on the pitch.
So don't you think that
Arteta-
has to do with his inability to stamp his feet on the ground and be ruthless?
As it is at Arsenal, Arteta has stamped his feet in many areas, but I also believe that there are compromises in one or two areas. And like I said earlier, the tier system, which came out to the limelight a few days ago, it's a big surprise. I read that piece over and over. I read over that interview over and over. Arteta saying there were players that were placed in tier 1. These are like 4, 5, 6 players that no matter what, you cannot take them out of the game. Whether it's a bad day for them, not a bad day, I don't really know how that happened.
I can list those players, man.
Yes.
People like
Saka is one. Odegaard is another one.
I think
Martinelli is another one. So let's just say it works out this season, because as it is now, we have a very competitive side. If we can add one more player, especially on the left-hand side. Yesterday, I saw a lot of conspiracy videos where Rafael was walking towards a group of Arsenal players. He spoke to them and he was isolated with Rice. They spoke for quite some time, they hugged, and the person was saying that is Agent Rice trying to convince Rafael to come to Arsenal.
Right.
He has pace, he has agility, probably better than Martinelli offensively. One thing that is keeping Martinelli in this side all this time, for me, has been his defensive prowess to track back. Even that he has been losing some amount of effectiveness. Exactly. So I would say overall, the tactics of Arteta has not been a problem. Though most times we claim that he's kind of stubborn. He don't actually do his substitutions on time.
Good. Now, coming to that point now, a coach is as good as his tactics. Now, as a coach, you play the game, and you play the match against your opponent. Let's take a random choice of the team who played against in the last concluded Premier League. We played against Bournemouth City, and we went and we were beaten. Came back to the Emirates again. We're flattering. So the question is, as a coach, you go to your drawing board, you look at the tactical approach that you utilize in playing this game, and at the end of the day, you're playing the same thing again. You are supposed to be ruthless. So that's why some of this blame goes to, his shoulders. So what do you think Arteta should do in the forthcoming season to correct this? Because now we can no longer complain that it's the Kroenkes. I'm one of those that is against the Kroenkes to say, bring out the banner, let's start campaigning against the Kroenkes to leave the club. But somehow they've gone, become a changed child with attitude, spending the money. Victor Gyökeres is in, Zubimendi is in, Christian Mosquera is in, Noni Madueke is in. And hopefully, just like Ospi said, we're going to be looking at getting one wide left winger. Either we'll get from Agent Rice, we'll get a Rafael, or we'll get a Billy Chizzy. So what do you think Arteta should do going forward to ensure? Because if you want to win the Premier League, you need to get things. Recently, we said, every other thing, what we're saying, where do you think Arsenal is going to end? And people were saying, I don't want to be too confident about the season because other teams are strengthening. Yes, if you want to be the best in anything you do, you need to go and compete against the best. So what do you think that Arteta should do in order to get us across the line? Because in getting us across the line, we need to grab it from the first game at the Old Trafford. So what should Arteta do?
First of all, let us go through our preseason tour unscathed without injuries. Let the team come fresh. And like Ospi was saying, when this tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 thing is off the table, you look at players based on their training skills in the week. Mind you, Ken, I always say the coaches, the technical team, are almost always with these players week in, week out. We see them only on weekends, and yet we want to determine who plays and who is not to play. We are not fair to them.
Yeah.
Let us leave them do their job. When the coaches win, we don't praise the coaches, we blame the players. We praise the players.
Yeah.
But when the team lose, we blame the coaches. The same coach that trained them to win is the same coach that trained them to lose. But sometimes they lose focus in the field of play, not the coaches. So, and there is no coach that will want to field a team to lose. As long as you have been in football, you know you don't want any 11 of your players to go to the field to go and lose. But sometimes they don't execute well what you teach them. Or in the process, they lose focus.
So in that
I'm coming. Now, you were talking about Arteta's ruthlessness. Remember, when Arteta took a decision against Aubameyang was on top of his game. He was scoring goals for us for fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when his attitude did not befit what Arsenal stood for, he spoke to him, engaged him 1 or 2 times. Yet, there was no change because he thought he was bigger than the team. He said, no, the team is bigger than you. He took a decision against him. All fans were like, no, this is a goal scorer. When he left, when he started benching him, most of us were not happy. But at the end of the day, it paid dividends because we scored goals without him, and then they realized that we can do without him. And since then, he's never been the same. But the team is progressing. So, let us leave it to Arteta. He knows what to do best with his players based on the crop of players that he has. Mind you, the team is now more competitive. Everybody now is going to give up his best, because if you are not at your best, you will not play. Because for every position now in the team, we have 2 or 3 players capable of playing that.
Yeah.
You know. So now let us don't jump too far ahead. Let us go game by game. Let us take it one day at a time. Like I said, let us hope that they come back from the preseason injury-free. Let us have a complete team. And then we'll start from there. Let us see what happens from the first day.
Okay. From what Honorable just said, he still have not given us a clear picture of what we want Arteta to do. Now, coming to his point, he said that the coach is always watching them in training every now and then, looking at what they do.
Yeah.
We as fans, we just see them over the weekend. But now, I just want to I want to deviate a little bit from players' history. Let's take, for example, Mikel was just talking about Hazard. Hazard in training will not train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We just see him lazing around the pitch, not doing anything while they're doing the hard work on the pitch. And yet, on Saturday, the guy's name is the first on the list, and he becomes the man of the match. When this guy was talking about Messi in training, Messi doesn't train. He just build the masseur, they're massaging him. He just jog with the ball. Weekend is playing. Become man of the match. So now the question is, if you watch them week in, week out, because yes, you need to select your players based on their performance during the week. But there are some key players that you say, this player, whether we like it or not, is going to start, is going to win my game. So why is Arteta? Because the question, why this is liberating on my thought is, I'm one of those that wanted Martin Odegaard to be benched in some matches last season.
Okay, can I come in there?
And he kept, yes.
Now, there are certain players, they are exceptional. You train the team and tell the team to play around that player. One of such players is Messi. You talk about Hazard in his peak, when he was in his prime. He's a kind of player. You don't give that to every player. Now,
so is that why we're allowing Odegaard to
be I'm coming. I'm not going to Odegaard for now. Odegaard, Arteta, at a point, thought Odegaard was going to be that kind of player that no matter what the situation is, he can always deliver those passes that are required to open defenses. But mind you, Odegaard was playing without a pointed number 9 for most of the time. Now that we have someone like Gyökeres, let us see what happens when he actually fits into the team. Mind you, Gyökeres is a player, I'll call him a fox in the box kind of player. When he's there, give him the ball. From what we have seen him do in the Portuguese league, even when he was at Coventry, I mean, he's the kind of player, when he's around the box, you give him the ball, he can maneuver his way through and release his shot. Now, when you have that kind of a player, you have, again, now remember, we have a new crop of midfielders. Zubimendi, Merino, Rice, you have Odegaard, playing 4.
Nogard as well.
Nogard, playing 4. Somebody like Gyökeres. I think a striker is as good as the supply he gets from the midfield. And now we're talking about having a very good defense. Now we have a good midfield. If we have Saka, we have Gyökeres, hopefully add another player in the attacking force. Martinelli is there, Trossard. So we now have options. So when anybody comes into the field, but one thing is good, nobody is saying I'm too much above the rest. So everybody plays for each other. They are all playing for each other. That is the beauty of the game with our team. It's better to have a team where all of them are above average, but everybody plays for each other, than you have somebody waiting for people to play for him. I think that is one thing that we have realized with other teams that depend on one star. Take, for example, PSG. PSG had Kylian Mbappe. They had Neymar. They had Messi. They were too stacked with stars. What did they achieve? But when they all left the team, now everybody's playing as a team. When they play as a team, look at what they're achieving now. Dembele becomes the man, but everybody's playing together. Now they have achieved results. So it is not always having that spectacular player.
Yep, I agree.
But when you have a team, they play together, they build the camaraderie and listen to the coach. And when the coach is able to stamp his authority on the team, which I think Arteta has done, I think the team will progress. Yeah. And I believe we are going places with what we have now, based on the mentality that has been instilled in the team.
Okay, we are going places based on the mentality that has been instilled in the team. Now the question is, Hospi, what do you think? This is to you now. What do you think with the caliber of players we have on the team currently? What do you think Arteta should do? Because for me, he doesn't have an excuse to say why he would not win the Premier League in the next coming season. You have become runners-up twice. It is time for you to put your hand on that trophy now. So what do you think he should do going forward to get it correctly?
He should just pick a team or select a team of players that are in form. And get the best out of the new signings. It's very important that the new signings gel with the team as soon as possible. They are incorporated. They get used to our tactics. They get to know each other on and off the pitch. It makes a whole lot of sense. First of all, let's give it to Arteta and Bata that they have done a great work in the market, bringing in these new players. And as far as I'm concerned, the expectation has gone through the roof that Arsenal should win trophies this season. Some people are even saying if Arsenal do not win at least one major trophy,
It has to be a major trophy.
that's a failure.
I subscribe to that.
I hold you up for that. I hold you up for that. We are hoping that we have a very unique team this season. And I think one thing that Arteta should be paying attention to is also rotating these players. We want to keep them match fit because most times when you keep players on the bench for far too long, they become rusty.
Yeah.
You don't get the best out of them. They underperform. It affects their mental status,
Yeah.
and they also demotivate them. So it is very good that he make use of these players sparingly, rotating his squad even in the Premier League. I want Arsenal to be unpredictable. I want other coaches to be dilly-dally in the dressing room because most times coaches set up their team
Based on what they are going to expect from you.
from the opponent. Exactly. So I want coaches to have headache. Do we expect Saka to start today or Eze? Do we expect Saka to start or Madueke? Do we expect Noga to start or Zubimendi? Let's just give them a little bit of
Now
headache.
you're coming to the point where I said it's the coach's call.
And yes, but he can only rotate the squad when he has a depth in squad. Previously.
Can I say something? When you talk about rotating the squad when you have in-depth squad, the truth here is that we discovered one area and Myers described me because players were injured.
Yep.
And you threw them in the fray. This is the thing. Go and kill yourself. Make a name for yourself. And that's the revelation we got in those two players. So that is why I'm one of those that still stand my ground to say one of the biggest shortfall of Mikel Arteta as a coach, in spite of all the things he has done, bringing the fan base together and repositioning and playing identity, is that he wasn't as ruthless as he ought to be. Because there are times you overlook the strength of the player that you have, or that your captain. We know the guy is good, but when it's not working for him, it's not working for him.
I'll agree with you to some extent. I can vividly recall playing against PSG, both legs. Many fans were calling for Nwaneri to have minutes on the pitch, which never happened. He kept him on the bench in both legs, and at the end of the day, we went out. And some of us believe that if Nwaneri had minutes in any of those matches, he could have had some impact.
Exactly.
Reasons for that, I can't really tell. But we can also assert that Odegaard's lack of form last season, I can say it's greatly rooted to the bad injury he had with his ankle. I'm not sure he really recovered well, and we were pushing him through the pain barrier, and so his motion was a little bit ineffective, but also his decision making became a little bit reckless. But again, like what Honorable was saying, if this tire system was in place, it could be one thing that could have left players resting on their laurels, knowing that I play well, I don't play well, nobody's going to take me out of this match. But now, if you know that everybody is fighting, juggling for positions on the pitch, and looking at the excellent performance of Nwaneri yesterday in Odegaard's position, it's a call for concern.
I'm happy you took note of that.
It's a call for concern.
Okay, now talking about progression in Arsenal, one of the things that we also discovered is how Arsenal players that are picking up pitch line cards, suspension, thereabout, matching orders again. And people were like, Arsenal have become too reckless and indisciplined. But that's one of the market things that Mikel Arteta brought into the club. Because prior to this time, we were like jelly babies. We're not strong enough. Going for tackles or lose the ball. We're not even running to get the balls. And that's why people like Patrick Evra called us that were crybabies. But we now saw a team that became resilient. They were very formidable in the way they go in for tackles and all that. And the question that I want to put across to Honorable Do you think that part of the reason why we capitulated in the last 3 seasons where we came second was because our mentality was below par? Because this is a team that we're not used to going into hard tackles. All of a sudden, we started going to hard tackles in games and trying to retrieve balls, fighting for every ball on the pitch. Do you think that we were caught napping by that mental, change of the way we play?
It depends on where you sit on those issues. If you ask me, maybe, just maybe, I'm too much in defense of Arsenal. But some of those calls were not fair to Arsenal.
Exactly.
If you ask me, this is purely a subjective
Opinion.
It's an opinion.
Yeah.
Why? The same play that they will card a player at Arsenal for might happen in another match. I will not see a player being punished for that. I'm not saying it is deliberate, but the coincidence, we saw a few of those happening. So, in some of those things that you're talking about, for example, if there was a match against Newcastle, was it? The ball, everybody who watched that game knew the ball went over the line.
Yeah,
but it was brought in and it resulted in the goal against us.
And
which
Gabriel was
three
also
points.
pushed to the floor.
If you remember again, there was another game against Manchester United.
Odegaard scored.
Yes.
No, it was Martinelli who scored.
And said it was a gentle foul.
Yes. Then there was a match again where I think it was we were leading or we drew that match against Manchester United. Takehiro Tambi, the Japanese Tomiyasu was hustled to the ground.
The referee said play on.
He said play on.
And Brentford.
Against Brentford.
They said they forgot to draw the line.
So those mistakes, you see them, take 1 point here, 2 points there, all of those resulted in us losing. When you put them cumulatively, they were responsible. Because you look at the gap at the end of the day, 3 points, 5 points. Okay, this last one, Liverpool won.
But I remember last season, when they see the last trophy that Man City won, when they accumulated all the points that Arsenal lost due to refereeing errors, we could have won the league by 2 points.
By 2 points, yes. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying here that we ought to have won the league, but had those decisions not been taken, maybe we would have been talking about something different. Now, that notwithstanding, even a game against Manchester City, the time Manchester City equalized,
the game was over.
The game was supposed to have been over.
2 seasons before that, Kovacic played 2 red card fouls. He was only cautioned once.
Yes. You see, so
one was a career
threatening. Yes.
Mm-hmm. You look at the game Liverpool-Man City. There was a red card foul against Liverpool. The referee overlooked that. But the same kind of something lesser with Arsenal. So what I'm saying here is, I am not saying, so for Evra to say we are crybabies, yes, he can say that. But I'm sure
because he's a beneficiary.
Yes,
he has not been at the receiving end.
If he was in the pitch and that happened, he'd be the first one to shout.
Exactly.
But I mean, let us leave all of that. Now that we're trying to be stronger in the field, because sometimes teams get physical with you for a reason. They do. I mean, we have lost matches where we know that had they not been that physical with us, would have won. So probably the players are learning to say, okay, we'll match you in skills, we'll match you physically now, whichever way you want to play, let us go. And I'm happy with that kind of mentality in the team. So sometimes if it's not working for us, okay, fine. But Let us match them toe to toe in every aspect of the game, physically, technically, etc.
Okay, now I still come back to you with the same question. We've seen it, yes, the players need to react based on the way their opponents also challenge them on the pitch. Now, if you know that the referees, we already know, because I always say that Arsenal players should walk into the pitch knowing they're going to be playing against the 13 man. The 13 man, the linesmen, the officials, and your opponent's fans. So now, having that at the back of your mind, why is it that Arsenal players are not able to control themselves when they get onto the pitch and know that, look, because that is what champions are made of. Say we are going in here. Okay, let's say for example, off camera, we're talking about the reckless card that what was his name picked up. What was his name? Thomas Partey picked up against Madrid. You knew that you guys are in. You're already coasting clear. Why did you have to go out? So the question now is it a really mentality problem? And if it's a mentality problem, how do you expect, if you're a coach, let's assume that you are Mikel Arteta, how do you intend to address this issue? Because it seems to be a recycling decimal that is always affecting us every season. We make that comical mistake. Look at the one that happened previously. We were talking about Chris Kavanagh doing a lot of stuff. All of a sudden, right, you knew that the referee doesn't like us against Brighton. Just walk away from the ball. Walk away.
But that ball was kicked into Rice.
It was kicked into you, but you just walk away.
He was walking away. He wasn't.
But he nudged the ball.
He wasn't. No.
He nudged the ball.
The ball was forcing motion.
It can be argued.
The ball was
that
in
he just
motion.
saw the ball and don't reacted. But you nudged the ball. There was a movement of the body.
All right. So for me, if we can go back in history, you can recall that we lost our unbeatable run at Old Trafford in similar circumstances when Rooney dived deliberately. The Arsenal players protested. Nothing came out of it. And we've had similar issues. And at the end of the day, you hear the PGM all will come out and offer apologies. But the points are gone. And also, we had teams in England like the Bolton Wanderers, the Sheffield, the Birmingham City. They will always come at the Emirates, or back then at Highbury, with a physical mentality. They knew we lacked the physique, we lacked the steel to play like men.
When I recall, Mourinho would tell the Chelsea boys, kick the Arsenal players.
Exactly. That was even what was United doing, whether they are playing us home and away. So all of us knew that we lacked physique and strength right through the team. But now we are getting ruthless. For me, I would just say the players should take caution. Like, for example, the yellow card that Partey got at the Bernabeu was uncalled for. The one that Trossard got at the Etihad was unwarranted. I would just say, you are playing against everyone on the other side plus the 13th man. You just have to be careful. When the whistle goes, don't touch the ball.
So whose responsibility is it to educate the players and ensure that
they already know? But this is something that we lacked in the past. And for me, I'm happy that the team is growing balls, is growing steel, and we match teams now physically with whatever physical intensity they bring. We say, bring it on. Let's go.
Okay. And I think in that area where you want to blame the coach, remember, this is an emotional game. It is not the coach who tells them react. No.
Yep.
No, I'm coming. It is not the coach. The players who are professional in their trade ought to know that if I do this, this is the consequence.
Yeah.
Or this is going to be the effect on the team. So sometimes, because of the team, you don't do certain things. But when they react wrongly, though, then it will affect the team. In that instant, You don't blame the coach. It's like having your child at home. You tell your child when you get to school in the morning, say good morning, teacher. When you leave in, goodbye, sir. If he doesn't do it at school and then get punished, will you be blamed for not doing it? No, you did the right thing at home. When he goes to school and does the wrong thing, it is not because you didn't teach him.
And you know you can also
Yes,
carry out
that is why
the repulsive
discipline
action.
is taught, but sometimes impulse. You react.
Okay.
So sometimes it is not so much about what is being taught in the classroom or in the dressing room, but the player's reaction. That is why sometimes when they commit those offenses in the field, you see they bow their heads because they are in shame to the coach, because they know coach did tell me this, but I did that.
So imagine this is somebody who was not physically involved in the intensity of the match, but from the technical side. Luis Enrique against Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
After the final whistle went, look at what he did.
Exactly.
This is somebody who praised Inter Milan when they defeated Inter Milan. Inter Milan players stayed on the pitch to give them guard of honor and all of that. He said, this is very good. It's a very good education for young kids at home watching.
You never can tell what Pedro told him that got him to that level.
Yes, but at the end of the day, his reaction overshadowed everything.
Okay, so from what Honorable have said, don't you think that it is the inability of our players to take responsibility? Because we lack that capacity to take responsibility on the pitch. The coach has dropped something into our head. We are supposed to be responsible, which we are not.
I think responsibility goes both ways.
Our players can be responsible, and also the match officials should be responsible. We've seen Arsenal players being sent
So for marginal offenses that in other matches they don't. Other players don't get sent off for similar offenses. So responsibility comes both ways. As far as I'm concerned, I am very happy that our players have developed some amount of ruthlessness on their side. Nobody can take advantage of us on the pitch anymore. Nobody can take us a right, say, let's go physical and we'll just drain them out. I remember 3 seasons or 4 seasons ago when we were overridden by Newcastle at St. James's Park. You remember what Shaka said? Said the players had to develop balls. They have to grow up. They have to man up. They have to be very physical to assert themselves in matches, because Newcastle just blew us away with the intensity they had during that match. They blew us away. We never got settled in that match. But now, bring it on. When you are physical, we're physical with you. You want to go technical, we'll go technical. You want to have us on counter, we'll go on counter. You go on low block, we go on low block. And but one thing I think we have struggled to do in the past seasons has been breaking down teams who sit on low blocks.
So if we bring in creative players, because the concentration has been on Saka, and you'll see opponents, double matching Saka when he is always in possession. Odegaard lost a little bit of flair, and you'll see Odegaard in possession, players will be running around the channels. He will never send the ball. He will just go sideways. And most times, when we are in that position, Arsenal resort to playing ball sideways, hoping that there will be a space that they will niche in. And some of these teams master this. They will just sit there, say, bring it on. We'll defend all day. And they try to hit you on the counter, both at home and away. So if we are bringing in players with flair, with some technical agility, it's going to help us unlock some of those defenses, because if Saka draws out 2 players, one position is vacant in the defense. If another player on the wing draws out 2 players, there's another space out there in midfield. And you know how we play. Most times when we're in possession, the left back can come to the center of the pitch to play as a pivot or double pivot for the midfield. So now I am very sure with the fluidity, especially with the football brain that Zubimendi has, the eye he has for top-notch passes, we could be able to unlock defenses, especially when you'll be having a world-class demon at the end of those passes to notch them away.
Okay, now, Ospi just said it. He said if we're able to bring in players with good technical ability, then we can unlock those defenses that sit low block every time we're playing against them. Talking about bringing those players, there's a change in the way Arsenal Football Club does their things, especially with the coming in of Andre Beta. That guy is a sporting director that is unplayable. That is the way I want to describe him. Now I'm going to be asking Honorable for us to now review this trajectory and see if this is the ideal pattern we're going to be seeing in the next 5 years to come. Because we saw a sporting director that came in, and when he eyes a player, he's not reneging on saying I tried and couldn't get it across the line. Each time you just say this is the player, all the player you wanted this season, he notched them in. So, what's your view on this?
I think from what we have seen him do at Arsenal in the 1 or 2 months that he has come in, I think he's here to stay. And looking at his background, what he did with Diego Simeone at Atletico Madrid. Remember, he stayed there for like 12 years, if I'm not mistaken. And he must have been doing something good there. Look at Atletico Madrid. Now, they are always competing with the Real Madrid, Barcelona, etc. They are now the third team, more or less, that is always in competition for though they are not winning the La Liga, yet they are they are part of the big three now in Spain. And it is all because of the work he was doing with the coach there, the manager. So I think what he has done here also, and for him to be chosen to replace Edu, I think there was a reason for that, because of his pedigree. And look at his background. Mind you, he's an experiencer in this game. So I believe that the trajectory we are going, for now, let us say we are doing a good job based on the acquisition we have seen. And if we're not done yet, I believe they are still identifying areas that we need. Maybe we need 1 or 2 more additions just to beef up the team, let us have a complete team, make it a more formidable side. But I think André is the right man. Edu was good, but maybe he was new in the game. So the more he stayed in it, the more he stayed in it, the more he will learn, because he is an Arsenal player. So he has the passion for the team. But maybe, again, he is still learning, he's still growing in that role. And I think André Bata, being that experienced old hand in the game, knows better, and he will give us kind of, when it comes to acquisition, when it comes to player recruitment, I think he's going to do us a better job.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so far, what we have seen, I think I'm satisfied. I would say, yes, we are going in the right trajectory with André Bata, and his partnership with Arteta is one that I believe will produce desired results for us.
And I also believe that the way or the pattern Edu was recruiting shows that he lacked experience, especially dealing in the European market.
Mm-hmm.
Most of his acquisitions were South American based, and most of them were for the future.
Like signing of the Marquinhos.
Exactly. So I don't know whether he lacked the financial support from the Kroenkes back then.
That is exactly the point that I'm coming to. That is because Honorable spoke about his inexperience. Now there's an André Beta that are coming with a lot of experience that can put his feet on the ground and say, this is what I want. Don't you think that would have accounted against Arsenal's inability to nurture marquee players when Edu was there? Because we see there were permutations that were looking at this player, we're going to get him, and somehow at the end of the day it becomes story. For Edu to come and tell us that he just decided to just sign Sterling when nothing was coming in, So is it an issue with the owners not supporting him, not backing him to achieve his purpose?
It could be, and there could be more reasons. For example, you are the sporting director. I will not let Nelson go out on loan and bring in Sterling. I will not. Let's say we lacked financial backing from the Kroenkes, but there is no way I will let go of Nelson and bring in Sterling.
But would you blame him? Sterling is an experienced player in the Premier League.
Yes, but at the end of the day, we saw it all. We saw it all.
That's because it did not work out. If it worked out, it would have been a marquee.
We even saw it at Chelsea. Sterling fell off the radar. He wasn't himself anymore. So for me, I think there could be many things happening in the upper room that we are not privy to, especially things that could have culminated to the abrupt exit of Edu. And speaking to one or two people who are closer to the powers that be at Emirates, I learned that there were few discrepancies between Edu and the coach in terms of choices of players. And somebody went as far as saying the Sterling deal, the Havertz deal were not really like, they were not Arteta's wishes, or he never wanted. So they just made them available to him. And so there was this amount of power struggle. And as far as I'm concerned, I think the Arteta project at Arsenal, you'll agree with me, that in the last couple of years, it stalled. At some point, we could not get over the line. Was this because we lacked support from the board? It could be. Or is it because the sporting director failed to do his job? To the latter, it could be. We also we had a dragged out negotiation for Modric, almost 2 months.
I couldn't get that across.
And Chelsea just snapped him within seconds.
Okay, now we're coming to the last. This, I think, will let us round up now. Now, Honorable, I want to ask you, the challenge. What do you envisage as the challenges that this Arteta project, 5 years and 5 months old, has gone through? Do you think, I ask you again, do you think it is something that we should continue with? Just one last, you say it and I ask us the same before we go out of the studio. Do you think it is something that we should keep believing? We believe in the process. And the process has taken us to the point where we become title containers of no one anything, aside from the FA Cup and 2 Community Shield Cup that we won. So do you think that this project is something we should continue to believe in?
Let us keep on keeping on.
I like that.
And mind you, the only thing, as far as I'm concerned now, maybe minus just adding making one addition to the team, the only thing that is my concern, I hope in the middle of the pack, we develop that steel. That steel. Because mind you, our losing Thomas Partey is taking away that strong man in that middle of the pack that at least is intimidating. The terms of skill level, perfect. Because I saw Zubimendi, I've been watching him at Sociedad, and I watch him in this preseason. When you talk about progressive passes, when you talk about ball control, when you talk about intercepting passes, yes. But that physical aspect of it, that's the only concern. But like I said earlier on, let us keep on keeping on. I still believe in the process and I trust Arteta.
I like that. Let us keep on keeping on. I still believe in the process and I trust Arteta. Hospi, do you still believe in Project Arteta? 5 years and 5 months running. And the Premier League is going to be kicking off August 17th. Where do we stand?
I have always believed in my manager, and I still trust the process. I know we lacked some few details, and we're addressing that now. Few things that is really making me confident about this Arsenal side. One, I've always said this, we now have a changed culture at the club. The atmosphere is fantastic in the stadium. At Highbury, there was this slogan that the Highbury was a library. We'd never had vocal fans, but now at the Emirates, you've seen the unleashing of the North London forever, whatever the weather. It was not at Highbury. Now, Arteta's change of culture did not only affect or impact the players in the dressing room, in the locker room, but it also extended to the fans in the stadium and around the world. Now, look at us. We are very happy. We are even celebrating finishing fourth every season. Now, second is not even acceptable to fans.
We are complaining.
Now we are even attracting marquee signings, marquee top class elite players around the globe. So these are impacts. I know the hallmark of major teams is to clinch trophies, but you have nitty-gritties. You have the foundations that you have to. And now the foundations that Arteta has laid will be there for years to come. We just need that one major trophy. It's going to unlock the pathway for many more. Yes, I trust the process.
Viewers, globally, the men in the studio, they're giving their verdict. They trust in the process, they believe in the process. And Honorable say we'll take it one step at a time. And Austin says, I believe in the process because of the changes that have come throughout the entire spectrum of the club, from the stadium to the backroom staff. Everyone is having that sense of camaraderie and unison coming together. But before we round off the show, I'm going to be asking the same question I've asked in the previous edition of our show. I want us to know where we're going to be ending up the season. Honorable, where is Arsenal going to end up 2025-2026 season?
Champions of the Premier League.
Wow. That is my man. And you, Ospi, are you still going to sit on the fence?
I'll not sit on the fence. I think I said something similar to what Honorable said, but in a different way.
Different way.
I said Arsenal is not going to finish below second position this season.
Yes.
We are going to get across the line.
There's progression.
So, of course, ultimate champions.
Yes.
Mind you, this season, before we won our first Premier League, we came second 3 times. And history might just repeat itself this season.
Definitely.
Wow. Global viewers, you've heard it. And this is the passion that exudes in the mind and the thought of every Arsenal fan globally. Because this badge is untainted. The Not London song streams in our vein. And when we talk about Arsenal, we say it with so much passion and unbreathable love. And so that's what we're asking you to keep on showing us that love as we keep building this community together. Don't forget that you need to like, you need to share, you need to make comment, you need to subscribe. And for those of you that are using your data to subscribe to this channel, just keep doing what you're doing.
We appreciate you.
Don't stop. We love you. Together, we're going to do bigger things. One last word from you to the fans.
We are going to be champions this season.
And from you, Honorable.
Of course, I believe.
And until then, from me to you, and from all of us here, it is come on, you Gunners!
Come on, you